Welcome to the Modern Pirate Podcast. My name is Kent Mulligan and today's chat is with Dave Driskell. Dave is the owner of CrossFit Wanderlust Bali, arguably one of the busiest CrossFit gyms globally. We had a really enjoyable chat about Dave starting a life in Bali and creating a business around his passion. Before we kick things off, we've got a special offer over at the Modern Pirate website for our podcast listeners today. We've got a 20% discount across our full range of products. There's something on there for everyone. We've got styling products, we've got natural soaps, we've got body wash, and we've got beard products. Swing by and check out the products, and on checkout, use the code EP.20 for a 20% discount. All right, let's dive in and have a chat with Dave. I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, Dave Driskell. How are you, mate? Good to see you.
I'm doing very well, sir. Thank you. How are you?
Good. Hey, thanks for taking the time to chat. It's been a while since I saw you, probably 3 months ago when you were down here, pre-lockdown and quarantine.
Yeah, winterland.
Seems like a different time, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's been a bit weird. Yesterday was like the first time I went out to a bar with friends, with people. So that was kind of a surreal experience going on. We were sitting all in a little booth and there was only like 20 people out or 25 people out in the bar. So it was very sparse, but kind of nice to still be able to sit down and order a cocktail. Definitely. Except they made you sanitize your hands before you walk in.
Sign in on an iPad, hand over.
Yeah. Well, they had no menus because they don't want anyone touching the same things, even though my hands are on the seat and, all that kind of stuff. But
yeah, it's quite bizarre, isn't it?
And I asked them, I said, hey, I haven't used hand sanitizer in 2.5 months. Like, you're going to ruin the flora on my hands. They're like, oh, sorry, it's the rule. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, definitely. No, I've been avoiding the hand sanitizer as well for that reason. I don't want to destroy my microbiome on my skin and all the bacteria that's floating around.
Yep.
Hey, let's just back up a bit for the listeners and do a bit of an intro. So you're Dave Driskell. You're a expat American that's based in Bali, Indonesia. You own CrossFit Wanderlust, which arguably could be the busiest CrossFit gym in the world.
Yeah.
With 350 active daily members. Would that be pretty close to?
Yeah, generally we're around a 300 kind of daily entries per day. That's like at least as far as the check-ins, that kind of thing. Yeah, I would say arguably we're one of the biggest and busiest, probably just in that sense. A lot of gyms might have 300 members, but they're not going every day. But every day we have, we take over 300 people. We work right now. It's been down to 115 or so, but that's understandably as a lot of people have had to leave the island and aren't there right now. But yeah, I own CrossFit Wanderlust. I got CrossFit Byron Bay as well down on this side, which is pretty awesome. I got a retreat company as well called Wanderlust Fitness Retreats. You'll notice there's a Wanderlust in almost everything I have, which is very important to me. And then so we have a retreat company, and then I also have a Wanderlust Athletics, which is a athletic range of line for women and men, like tights and sports bras and budgies and t-shirts and all that kind of stuff, which we just launched over the last couple months. So that's pretty cool. I'm just doing stuff that makes me happy, and I want to continue on this kind of path of self-development, but then also being able to kind of parlay that into teaching others, some tricks of the trade, I guess, and hopefully to inspire some people out there.
Definitely. No, you've definitely got an inspiring message, all right, and you've curated a life around things that you love to do. And obviously, like you say, that you touched on, the growth aspect of it is a big part of it for you, and you're constantly developing your skills and connections and evolving the business and yourself along the way. So just on that, like you and I first crossed paths, I think, was it 2013 or 2014 in Bali when we met?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, through CrossFit. And that's where you had voiced your goals, I guess, and your desires to develop something. And that would have been the foundation, I guess, of laying the seeds for your Bali business. So what led you to Bali, and what were you doing prior to that trip to Bali, work-wise, and yeah, was CrossFit a big part of your life before that trip?
Sure. Yeah, I've had a myriad of different businesses or jobs and businesses. I could go through a list, but right before that, I had most recently had owned part of a bar and grill, a restaurant, if you will. So
Where
did
was
that for what?
Was that back in the States?
Yeah, that was in Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
So I'm from California, but moved to Texas in 2010 and did that for a few years. That's also 2010 is when I kind of got into CrossFit. I'd been following it, but I hadn't really jumped on the bandwagon just because monetarily it was expensive at first, even though it's cheaper than it is now. But I finally got into it, and then yeah, that became my best part of my day, just because I was in a kind of a stressful, busy bar life, you know. So and as that kind of overtook, my desire had always been to travel a bit more, and I had a few things in my path before I even moved to Texas that prohibited me from getting there. I got real sick, and I wasn't able to do these little travel things I wanted to. So I gave myself about a 2-year plan after I moved to Texas, saying, I'll do this business for 2 years, and then I'm going to go travel. And I left pretty much 2 years to the date in 2012. So that was before I met you, but I was first backpacking all through Southeast Asia, and then got to Bali at the end of it it was a 6-month kind of trip. And then even then I'd put it in my head going, man, wouldn't that be cool to open a CrossFit gym here in Bali? That'd be pretty unreal. There's no one here yet. As far as gyms, there wasn't much yet. So, yeah, I kind of just thought about that. It was the following year when I met you, I came back and there had been one gym that just opened, I think, right before we met.
Yeah.
Sorry, my phone. And yeah, I kind of was like, well, that sucks, but I can hang out and train at least. And then I ended up working there for, about 6 months, and I worked in Jakarta for 3 months, the capital. And then I kind of said, you know what, I think I can do this myself. Like I have a big passion for this, and I love teaching others. I never thought in my wildest dreams would be wanting to be a CrossFit coach or any kind of coach. And then it kind of just felt right. And I think people gravitated towards it, and the way I taught, and the way I guess my life and the way I kind of structured things. And, I want to be a great coach, and I want to teach people all the time. So, yeah, it was my passion. And then, I do chase that kind of business idea we talked about earlier, but it was never about chasing this ultimate dream. It was more like, hey, I can teach in Bali and make enough money to live here and have a good life and be happy. It was a selfish thing. It was, I want to be content with my own life and what my journey is. And then it kind of escalated into like, hey, we're busier. Wow, we're busier. Now we're very busy. And then, as things started to run, I get these little peaks and valleys where I'm like, I'm a little not bored, but I'm like, what else can I do now? And what else, not in the monetary sense, but what else can I do to create a vehicle that allows me to still teach people or bring them to my business? And the retreat thing kind of spawned off of that. And then the clothing thing spawned off that because people were buying all our clothing in Bali. So then we designed like a whole range of it, and kind of people that come to Wanderlust, you'll see if you've been there many times, like they kind of feel like they're in this little club, I guess, or they're in this family, and it is like a very large worldwide family. So I think that's kind of where I've gone through these journeys. And it was more, again, like I never chased the buck. I mean, of course I would lie. I want to be successful, but I measure success in not just dollars. I measure success in if I can do something valuable and contributing, in the way I know how. I'm not a political analyst. I'm not a mathematician, but I know how to teach fitness. I know how to kind of inspire some maybe dreams of being able to change your life and do different things because I did it myself. So that's what I know, and that's what I can teach to others, I guess. So sorry for the rant, but that's kind of, I guess, a bit of an introduction of my thought process of how my businesses are going.
No, I think it's a great story, and the key message there is the foundation of it all is doing something that's fulfilling to you and sharing that across the community. And I guess, with Bali, it was pretty much a perfect storm, the timing of what you did and the growth of that area, that Canggu kind of Brawa beach area, and the kind of people that were going there. It's definitely attracting people that are, conscious about what they eat and how they live and how they exercise, and very international. So it's a perfect hub for what you've created. And I think like the community aspect of it, what you've been building on and adding these layers to is fundamental to the success. Things like your cafe, where you can sit down and eat food that's, nutritious and clean and healthy and complements, all of the training that you're doing. And it's just a really well-rounded package that you've got there.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's kind of, we want to kind of encapsulate or encompass everything. Like I'm not a nutritionist by any means, but I know, limited of how a bit to eat and, what not to eat. And so, we made a cafe that's pretty basic in nature. It's not the fanciest food, but it's all, healthy, and it's got, all your nutrients that you want to be eating. Yeah. Got some good, get some good coffee as well. And then, we were actually I just had a meeting about launching a whole new, we're going to have a whole line of like the juices, the jamu, the turmeric tonics, the bone broths, things like that. So we built a new kitchen, a new cafe elsewhere. So that's going to be kind of until it's open. Once everyone starts returning to the island, we're going to start manufacturing these kind of goods and then sell them in the gym and sell them to locals that want those kind of nutritious snacks and drinks, if you will. So it's a fun project, and you can create a lot of things in Bali, but it's just to further the experience, I guess, for people that come in. We want to eventually add a barber shop, So like we want to have a barber shop, a tattoo shop. I want to have a physiotherapist on staff, because we have this whole vision, we're adding saunas and ice baths and things like that too. So we want to have I want to call it, I'm actually changing the concept to more of a Wanderlust fitness village, as opposed to just CrossFit Wanderlust, because already we teach much more than just CrossFit. We teach, all sorts of different regimens, and we want to add the cafe, the experience, the physio, the sauna, ice bath, and more, can come there for a little of everything.
And you spoke in the past about some accommodation at the end of the block that you've got, potentially building a small hotel and tying in the retreats or the stays there in a package where everyone's on location.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there'll be people, you've been there, the people will sit there for 3 or 4 hours just working on their computers and having some snacks, then training again. And I thought how cool would it be if you kind of have this compound, this village where people kind of come and stay. And we want to add a co-working space as well, so they actually have a little bit more of a nicety of a office environment where they can get some work and put heads together. I've seen people sitting there creating companies together. Like they meet there at Wanderlust and they go, hey, like, what do you do? Oh, what do you do? Let's talk about this. And then I've seen literal companies start out of this little hub, and I'm like, wow, we should expand on that. Maybe we can actually have a Wanderlust co-working area, and that way you can take your break, go in your ice bath, and talk to people about ideas. And it's a kind of a fun environment, and it feels a bit like a hostel where you're meeting people from the every day. Like you kind of ask, where are you from, what do you do, let's hang out, give a beer or have a chat. So it's kind of it's very unique, I guess, compared to many gyms, because we are such a, I guess, global, and the turnover is quite high because people are in town for a week or 1 month.
Definitely. So. And it's really diverse. I mean, I noticed that with Bali, you've got a diverse group of people from all over the world, and it's just really stimulating. I mean, it's where I developed my concept for Modern Pirate. That's where I was, I quit my job on the oil rigs and took 6 months off and went to Bali with that intention. It's like, I'm going to go and clear my head and sit here and see what comes in. And that's where the concept for Modern Pirate developed. And so Bali's,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a pretty integral part.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about this little brainchild of yours, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then you showed me the marketing kind of material, and I was like, wow, that's stunning. And like, that's a really smart way to go about it. And it's like, I love that kind of story, because you're like, hey, I'm going to do this. I think I can do this better than someone else, or like I have a different idea for it. And then look at you. And it's blown up. So I got a haircut yesterday at Tommy Guns, and like they have all your products everywhere, and Like we talked to them, they're like, oh, I'm like, I know that guy. I know the owner of that company. It's just crazy. It's cool to see the growth of yours as well, you know?
Thank you. Yeah, it's good. Tommy Guns are great. That's yeah, they've been a big supporter of the brand, so I'm really stoked to be in there, and it's good to see you going in and getting looked after by the crew.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess for me it was the same. It was the same concept. I wanted to create a lifestyle first, and the business was going to, you know, facilitate that lifestyle. And like with you, like it's not easy. It's been a real slog and it's hard work and it doesn't stop. But I think that's where you get the growth, when you're kind of grinding through and making these little gains and also fucking up heaps and having to learn from those mistakes. So
Yeah, for sure. Like a lot of people, a lot of people that see the business now or businesses kind of go, oh, how great is that? Like living the dream. And I'm like, yeah, I'm very happy and I'm very content, but I do work. I mean, my Instagram shows me training and tanning and walking in the sun, but there's a lot of work in between all the other clips that I don't post. I don't post a story of me sitting at my computer or being on business calls. Yeah, because it's kind of boring, you know? So people are like, oh, you must live the dream. I'm like, I do. Like, I'm very happy. But yeah, there's a lot of work, especially the first, you know how it is, the first year or 2, 3 years of a business. You're just grinding it out. Like I had no coaches. I just coached every class morning, noon, and night. And, you know, we get 1 or 2 more members and then 3 or 4. And I was like, wow, this is cool. I can afford to pay a coach part-time. And then now we have 6 coaches. And, you know, I personally only coach, 5 to 10 hours a week. And I'm doing more of the business development side. But, you know, I'm actually really excited to get back to Bali in a couple of weeks just so I can get on the floor and teach again, because it's been, 3 months since I've actually led a class. I did a guest coaching thing here in Brisbane, but I want to do some more because I missed it. I really thrive on the teaching of it. So
yeah, for sure. And just so anyone watching this will be on our YouTube channel as well, but you're not sitting on a beautiful beach surrounded by pretty girls.
Beautiful women, yeah.
You're not in Bali. So where are you at the moment, and what's been going on through the last couple of months of this quarantine time?
Yeah, so I'm currently in somewhat sunny Queensland. I'm in Brisbane. So when I saw you, that was February, or that was March 1st, 2nd, 3rd, something like that. I was in Melbourne, and then I came over to Brisbane to see a competition and see some friends, check on the Byron Bay gym. And then the whole COVID thing kind of started getting shut down, and we weren't really sure what was going to happen in Bali. Wasn't sure. No one knew anything. So I ended up staying here, extended it a week. Then the flights got canceled, and then things kind of were in limbo, and we got stuck here. So, they just lifted some stuff. There's more flights becoming available mid-June, so I'm looking then to get back to Bali. But the gyms are open in Bali still now. We had to close for a few days here and there just to do some deep cleaning and change the procedures and limit classes and sizes like that. But we're still functioning going there. It's not great, but we're still open and we can still facilitate the customers that are coming in. So I'm excited to get back. 3 months in Australia has been awesome though. I've been really enjoying this city. So
it looks like it. Yeah, it looks like you've had fun in Brisbane.
Yes. But it's getting colder, and I don't know if I can handle this cold. Like, even though I know this is not cold compared to for Melbourne, but it's cold for me.
Yeah, you get cold. It does get cold. You do get down to the single digit early morning days.
Yeah.
You get 25 degrees in the middle of the day, and it's beautiful and clear, so it's bearable. Whereas Melbourne, today's stunning. It's 4 degrees this morning when I went for a run at sunrise. It was hectic, but the sun's out and it's clear. As long as it's clear, it's nice. I can handle it. But Brisbane, Brisbane's great. It's a really good.
Yeah, it's really lovely. I want to come back here more and more. I mean, I've been here quite often, but I was looking, now that I'm stuck, I was like, oh, I should look at properties and look at things here. And, one day, you never know, I might be able to live here part-time and live in Bali part-time. Who knows? That'd be pretty fun. And I have a lot of good friends here now, and I'd like to keep in contact with them. And yeah, it's a cool city. It's nice to be sometimes Western again, but as much as I love Bali, I like the change of things here and there too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think if you can find a bit of a balance between the two places, or Bali and somewhere else, it's good. I mean, I find I love being in Bali as well for extended period of time, but I always find it refreshing to go somewhere kind of westernized for a period of time as well. At the moment,
Definitely.
I'm craving Bali at the moment, but
yeah, I think a lot of people are. I think going into this winter lockdown, at least some things are starting to open again, but I think we're going to see a big influx of Bali travelers. Obviously, whenever the prime minister, is that who it is, like, allows people to travel again. So I'm not worried about Bali. I know it'll bounce back. It'll probably be pretty overwhelming once we do open, because a lot of people are going to be coming to Bali, So I think there's some flights coming in, and people will start coming in depending on how it goes. So
yeah, Bali seems to weather these storms pretty well. I was there in the early 2000s, I think a month before the bombing in Kuta, and about a month after that.
Excuse me.
Bless you. And about a month after, and there was a 12-month period where that was tourism pretty much just backed right off. But following that, you kind of see this rise and this constant growth. So hopefully for the Balinese people and the economy and the industries there, it bounces back and get back on track really quickly.
Yeah, that's the hard part. I think, like, my coaches are on a smaller income now, but they're being okay. We've kept most of our staff on, which is great, but a lot of the business, like the big hotels, had to close, and those kind of bigger companies unfortunately just cut their employees. They go, oh, too bad, see you in a few months, and we've been fortunate enough to keep ours open. We actually bargained with like some of the local authorities saying, hey, we want to stay open because we want to keep our Indonesian employees. We have 35 of them, and we want to pay them still, and we want them not to be broke, So it was very fortunate we could stay open and keep everyone afloat. I'm not able to pay myself or any partners yet, but we're okay. We'll be fine. And then at least we can pay our staff, which is good.
Yeah, definitely. And any changes to your plans? Is this really kind of put things on hold with a lot of the stuff that you're doing, or is it just slowing down the process a little bit? I mean, you've obviously got that core expat community that are coming through, covering your costs, and I know you'd extended into the building next door and had pretty big plans.
Yeah, we've the extent. Yeah, unfortunately, we did a massive extension and renovation right before this whole crash kind of came about. But our landlord is actually pretty helpful. Like, he let us defer. We lowered some of the payments, and then we were able to defer a few. But then until the business picks back up, which is great. We'll still be paying. But we had just paid a huge chunk to him, so I think he was pretty okay with us letting it to extend it.
Yeah.
And then the plans of like the saunas, ice baths, Coworking, all those kind of things, the retail section, will just be on hold a little bit until the numbers pick back up. Because everything I've done, like, we've built most of this business out of the business. I haven't taken any outside cash injections, anything like that. I've kind of built layer by layer as we go. I didn't see a need I didn't want to take out any loans or investments and things like that. I kind of like, just, if the numbers are there, cool, then we'll build it, then we'll expand, then more numbers come in, the more we go. Maybe that's just a very safe approach to building the businesses, because I've just never been a guy that has a lot of money, or I didn't want to spend someone else's money.
And
it was kind of
organic growth too. I mean, that's you're not kind of putting yourself out on a limb and taking on risk as well. I think if you've got growth in the business, it's a really safe and comfortable way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. That was the thing. I didn't know how it was going to go. So I was like, I'll just, if we get a couple grand in, cool, we'll start putting something else up, or we'll get some more equipment. Like we said, we start with 8 barbells and, a couple wall balls and a couple plyo boxes and no flooring or anything. So we just kind of made it work until it got bigger and bigger and bigger. But it's been pretty massive for a 4-year business to grow this big. And it's fun, though. It's so much fun to tinker with it. I'm kind of a bit anal about it. I think I'm always like, look at every little corner of the gym that some people might not ever see, but it's my detail, I guess, or I hope some people do see, or they'll notice the cleanliness, or that piece of equipment there, or this or that kind of thing. So it's fun, and every little piece I've done, so it's very personal to me, because I've made the logo. I picked out where I want it. That's the color paint I want, this and that, And so it's prideful because it's my baby kind of, like I love it.
No, and you see that, the accomplishment along the way and that growth, it's really rewarding. But you've created a really cool space and a great atmosphere as well. I really enjoyed going there. It's
thank you.
It's definitely a special place. So we've talked about a lot of the great things about business and your journey and living in Bali. What are some of the challenging things? Like, I know running a business or starting a business in Indonesia, just that within itself can be challenging. A lot of people struggle with making a business work there. There's lots of different rules and approaches that you need to consider in a foreign country, especially somewhere like Bali. Are there any things that kind of really pop out to you in regards to those challenges? Do you have, have you got a Indonesian partner at all that you need to consider? Local regulations with the Banja, the local village people. How do you navigate that?
I think it's challenging to say a few words, but I had a crash course in learning a bit how to do this. One of my business partners already has a business, so he was able to help quite a bit with it. We don't have we started with a local Indonesian partner because that's kind of an easier route to go. And then as we were growing, I wanted to establish ourselves as an actual foreign-owned investment company, and we had to apply for it's called a PMA. But it's interesting. The little things you still do there is, I go and meet with the local Banjar, and we donate rice and food and stuff. Especially in this time, we've been donating every month, and we build the local Banjar some signage and some other things to help out during their ceremonies, just because we want to be a part of it. But that's not just because we're trying to grease the groove. We're just trying to we want to be known in the community that we're not just there taking. We're also want to contribute. Like we didn't just hire every Indonesian. We hired a lot of Indonesians that live right in our village. So trying to create that growth within the village, a local thing. And as you know, Bali is very small and village oriented. Like each little suburb village has their own local Banjar, which is kind of like the little kind of unofficial, I think, government kind of, not mafia, but like they kind of help run the little village. So it's interesting. Like I went and I had to extend my visa my visa, and I went and had to go meet the local head of the Banjar in my neighborhood. So we went down and sat and had a coffee, and I had my assistant who helped translate a little bit because he didn't speak too much English, and I don't speak the best Indonesian. So, but it was great. Like we chatted a little bit. He asked what I do, and I even brought him some CrossFit Wanderlust shirts, and he was stoked. He was the guy that works out, so I told him come in whenever. Like it's cool because like it's not like here. It's not like in America. You still got to apply all the right paperwork and stuff, but it's still like some handshakes here and there, and some gifts here and there. Yeah, and it was endearing that way. It's like I want to be respected as much as I want their respect. I want to respect them. So it's kind of a cool. It's a bit old school, but it's still kind of cool. We talk to the local authorities quite often. We have a woman that works for us and makes sure that we're doing everything right as well. We don't want to like be a nuisance, especially because we're so big too. We don't want someone to kind of think we're just the bad guy and only there to, capitalize on them.
For sure. Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic working within that economy because you do have a lot of these traditional aspects to it that outside of probably your usual legalities around business. Yeah. But I guess that all of those things, that's the beauty of Bali. There's still a lot of magic there, and these little village communities still function like they did a long time ago, despite this kind of crazy development and mass influx of people from all over the world. Makes for an interesting place to be.
Yeah, definitely. It's wild. There's little delays here and there. There's little loopholes and all that kind of stuff, but you have to kind of just sometimes grin, because like it's fine because the business is great, things are happening, it can be frustrating, because it's not exactly how we might have been raised or how we do things, but you're like, oh, that's how it works here, and that's how you got to get along. The people that are getting too frustrated, I see, or getting mad, like that doesn't help anything, and that's not. I mean, you're a guest in these people's country, and if you want to have a business or a shop or anything like that, like you need to succumb to how things work here, and you can't change it. You can look at it two ways. So
for sure, and going in there with expectations of running your business like you would in a Western country is just unrealistic. And like you said,
people, and it will just, you'll never have your, you'll be disappointed, but then there's other things like that. I don't want to say it's all disappointment. It's great too, but like, yeah, you have to just adapt. You wouldn't go to any other country and just expect your rules that, that you're used to. So you have to play ball,
For sure. And what about, so what do you, obviously you look after yourself, you've been going to Tommy Guns, you've been getting cleanups quite regularly. What about Bali? What's your grooming routine like in Bali, and what's your favorite barbershop?
Yeah, so I've been only going to one barbershop the entire time I was there, and that's Dorsey's barbershop at Deus. So I've had a guy, Eddie, cutting my hair for like 4.5 years or something like that. It's not very much. You just cut the sides and then trim up the beard a bit. But yeah, they're awesome. And then I go there. I usually go there every 10 days or so when I'm in Bali, because it's fun to kind of have a chat. It's a cool old school kind of barbershop, and get cleaned up. When you got a haircut like this, you got to keep it fresh, right?
For sure. Yeah, it's a great barbershop. Yeah. Obviously, I'm good mates with Demir as well, who is the owner. So
yeah, he's awesome. He comes to our gym as well.
he's a machine
when he's in town.
Yeah. And he stocks Modern Pirate products. Are you still on the beard serum? Are you still using that at the moment? What's your kind of go-to in the Modern Pirate range?
Yeah, I've been using mostly the beard serum. I used it this morning. I did it last night again, just to kind of get in there to get the wild and wispies kind of out. Give it a little oil, then comb it through. So my hair but I haven't really used the pomade in it lately because it's just slicked back and put up with a man bun or whatever you call this thing. So it's a bit boring. I just kind of chuck it back and then do it. But I put it in there every once in a while just for a little bit of texture after I wash my hair.
Nice.
But yeah, it's good. I like that soap too. Is it charcoal soap?
Yeah, the charcoal. Yeah, that's a winner.
Yeah, that one's cool.
Great. It's good to hear. Now, what about just personally with you? Like, I notice your training is as gnarly as ever. You don't seem to be backing off, even though you've got a pretty fucked up shoulder at the moment.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I recently just found out I have a torn supraspinatus, 50% tear, and my labrum is torn as well, as long as with some old man bursitis that's in that shoulder, I think. So it's a kind of big whammy. It hits me pretty hard, but so there's limitations. I can't do a lot of gymnastics right now or snatching, overhead position. Like I can press and push and things like that. It's okay. But yeah, during this COVID time, I've changed a lot of my style of programming, a little bit of dietary difference as well, and just trying new things, which is really fun. Like kind of forcefully. Like I missed the gymnastics side of CrossFit, but I'm still doing a lot more training. I'm doing a ton more running and sprints and fitness stuff. I've cut a lot of my carbs out, which helped my inflammation, my knees, which I've had an issue for a few years. And I'm doing way more movements that I wasn't able to do, or I was kind of shying away from, I guess. So everything. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. I've been playing with this rope. I don't know if you heard that WEC method, rope training. Yeah, I stumbled onto it or something. I think we met and chatted about it. And then I went out to the marine shop, bought a rope, tied it up, made one, and then been working on these like kind of funny moves. You look like a little nerdy ninja warrior guy, but like I was like, man, this is cool. It's fun, and it's actually quite good for your shoulder blades and your scapula and your thoracic. So I'm working on trying these new kind of movements. I really want to move again. Like I haven't, CrossFitters, we get all big and bulky and, stuck linear. Yeah, I'm just trying to move again and get loose and feel better and reduce inflammation. And yeah, I'm quite liking it. I still went heavy the other day on some lifts and wasn't as high as I've ever been, but it's respectful enough, I think, for my size and age and what I really want to do. Like, as you know, we don't we keep hammering our bodies into the ground as we get older. It's not gonna help anything.
No, I agree. Yeah, the rope thing's interesting. I think it's Tim Sheriff who I
Yep.
saw first doing that.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and I think he did a workshop with a guy in San Diego who is kind of the guru of it. But no, there's so much value in those movement patterns and changing and incorporating more. I don't know whether you'd call that primal movement, but some of these patterns that we, like you say, are outside of the the traditional kind of movement patterns that you're doing with CrossFit. It's definitely something I've focused on throughout this last couple of months as well. Like, obviously not getting to the gym and having minimal equipment at home. I'm doing, at least 2 kind of 15 to 20 minute body movement, almost animal flow sessions, still getting in some weights, much more running as well. And I feel awesome. I haven't lost muscle. I'm as lean as what I was when I went into this. Been eating heaps, drinking, like I've noticed you having a couple of wines most nights.
Yeah, exactly.
Feeling good.
Have a few more.
Yeah, so I think it says a lot for maintaining diet and consistency with your movement. Is it's enough to maintain body composition and tackle that inflammation and things that kind of arise through the grinding of sort of punching through hard stuff every day.
Yeah, I agree. I'm loving the way I'm feeling. Heaps better, and I think the first few weeks, month I was here, maybe felt like an extended vacation, and then it was like a little too much wine, maybe I was eating a little too crappy, and then I had this switch about a month, maybe 6 weeks ago, and just really like dialed it all in. And I still went out for drinks last night, but like not as much as I was doing before, and then eating completely differently, and now I'm moving well, I'm feeling good. Like I implemented some intermittent fasting, which I had never done before. And that was just a kind of a trial. I wanted to see how it felt, what it was like. I know you and I have had a few chats about it, and it's just interesting. Like I'm liking just adjusting and playing with some ideas with my body and my diet. And, so far it's feeling very good. So I'll continue with it. I'm always tweaking things here and there, but I think we should try it. There's so many people that just reach for the Band-Aid kind of issue, and, I'll just train harder, or I'll just do this, or they don't look at, what they're eating or how they're training or what really lasts and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's been, for me, it's always been an interesting journey to figure out how to get better, especially in this next chapter. Because in the last few years, like, my body's like, all right, you're definitely not as young as you were. I'm turning 42 this year, but I want to maintain those cool things, and I want to be able to still deadlift a ton, but now I want to run a 5K faster than I've ever done one, like try to get back to my time from 10 years ago, like, because I just neglected those things. So like, it's that balance we need to find, where I want to be fit and agile as well as strong, but I don't have to be as strong as I was 2 years ago when I was just going crazy, and like, so I'm happy to find this different me, I guess. Maybe I might not compete like I used to compete because my shoulder and injuries, but I still want to have the fun of training.
Definitely. I think, for me as well, what I find interesting about it, when you discover these new things, whether it is just tweaking something with your training or introducing something new into your diet, or implementing the intermittent fasting, is just feeling the change in your body. And I think that's exciting when you can go, hey, I do have actually a lot of control over how my body moves, how it's going to recover, my cognition. It's very much in our control. So it's fun. It's a really fun journey. And there's so many things out there, and so much information and access to great ideas. So it's cool. I'm glad. It's good to see you doing different things as well. And it's inspiring.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot from you as well. Like, I think it just took me a little time to figure out when I should kind of alter this and change stuff. And I think I wasn't ready yet because it wasn't my priority and it wasn't fun for me yet. But now it is. Maybe this little forced time here. I mean, I started tweaking stuff after last season. I had 3 competitions back to back, and I was just, man, I was fucking hammered. I was done. I was like, I need to change some stuff up. I felt like I was also like I was taking anti-inflammatories and I was taking like, bandage kind of solutions to get through these kind of things. And that sometimes happens in sport. But I was like, I want to get back to like, running and not fucking hating it and not like being sore or not sore is okay, but like not feeling like my body's functioning as well as it will,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited. Like I don't, there's all this time here. People were like, complaining about it, but I was like, I've used it. I've watched a ton of YouTube. I watch a lot of educational stuff on YouTube about, mobility and dieting and different kind of research things and Joe Rogan and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of fun. Like it's my little, like this morning I get up now I'm doing rehab because my physio told me. So I'll usually watch 30 or 40 minutes of YouTube on the big screen TV about diet or mobility while I'm doing my stretches. And then like, all right, bang for your buck. I've learned something new and like I'm able to get my stretching done, and it's trying to create these routines. And then this is the best time for people while they're locked up to create new routines, because like you have more time than anything. You can sleep in, you can get your recovery up because you can sleep. If you're not going to work, obviously you can do so much more. Like, and I encourage people in the beginning of this whole thing, like, man, this is the best time of your life. You should be like outside as much as you can, training and doing other things, and working on all the things that you couldn't do when you were at a 9-to-5 kind of job.
Definitely.
Sorry.
No, I agree. I think for me as well, it's been, business challenges aside, it's been a really positive time. I've done the same thing. I've put a lot of time into educating myself about new things and experimenting with new stuff, and definitely sleeping more and recovering more. And I feel like at the beginning I made that choice of, I don't know how long this is going to go on, but I'm not going to come out of this in a worse shape than I went in. I want to come out of it feeling better and feel like I've achieved something. So and like you've definitely been onto that as well, and it's a great message coming through from you with encouraging people to get outside and go for a walk in the sun, and have some consistency with their morning routines, because as you and I know, that's kind of setting up your day, and a chain of biological triggers are taking place when you get outside in the sun in the morning, and you're only going to feel better for it. So it's
I'd actually like to, could you get, like, for your audience and my well-known, what's your morning routine? You give me yours, right, then I'll give you mine. Like sometimes mine's good, sometimes lazy, but I'd love to hear like at least your wake up protocol, or let's say not your whole nighttime protocol, but like from the moment you wake up, what do you do?
So
at least that first part of the day.
I'm super consistent, and really, I just do not compromise on my morning routine, no matter where I am. So I will always have my alarm set just before sunrise. So at the moment down here, it's about 6:30, a little bit later than what I'd probably like to get up, but I don't want to get up too early in the dark. So I'll get up 6:30 in the morning. I will try and avoid any artificial light, especially light from my phone, from the screen, the blue screen in the morning. I do set it to a red function, which you can find in the settings. So I'm not getting that blue spectrum light in my eyes first thing in the morning. That's going to disrupt my circadian rhythm, my biological triggers for the morning. I'll have a cold shower, generally 2 to 3 minute full cold shower.
Do you go straight in?
I do warm and then I go cold. So
yeah,
I'm not that
especially in Melbourne, man, that's got to be hard.
It's hard at the moment. It's hard, but it's it just, like, obviously with the cold therapy and the cold thermogenesis, to compensate from that, your body is producing internal heat. So it's hard at the start for the first minute, but then your body starts warming up, and through that.
So you go warm, and then do you do some breathing and then you go cold, or do you?
A little bit of breathing. So I'll do I want to trigger my parasympathetic nervous system with my breath work in the morning. So that's more of a longer exhale with my breath. So I do slow breathing, but with an extended exhale. The cold water is going to trigger a sympathetic response, the fight and flight response of your nervous system.
Right.
So yeah, just try to do some calming breath work, cold shower. Once I get out, even though my apartment, I live in a big open warehouse, it's fucking freezing, which I like. I like it cold for sleeping. But my body starts heating up as soon as I get out of the shower. So open all the blinds, a little bit of natural lights coming in, and then I'll sit down and I'll go to my yoga mat and do like a 15-minute yoga movement and breathwork routine. Sit down after that and do a 10-minute Wim Hof style breathing. So that's like 30 deep inhalations and then a long exhalation, and with a paused hold at the end. So I'll do 4 cycles of that, and you get this really euphoric feeling. You just really bliss out. So following that breath work, then I'll go into a 10-minute meditation. So just a really still meditation. After that, it's getting a bit boring, but after that, I do some journaling. So I'll make this morning brew I make, which used to be coffee, but I don't do coffee first thing in the morning anymore. I do like a matcha latte with bone broth, lion's mane mushroom. I've got a really great product from Superfeast, which is like a neural cognitive enhancing powder. Collagen in there, some MCT, a few, just things that kind of kick your brain into gear. So I'll sip on that and I'll do some journaling. So generally my journaling starts with a positive affirmation for the day and following with 3 things that I'm grateful for. And like sometimes it's small things. It's, having a roof over my head, being fortunate to live in an amazing country, all kinds of things. But again, you're just kind of priming yourself to be looking for the positives in life, I guess, and your day and your surroundings, rather than, sort of fighting off these negative thoughts, which, we all get. I believe, according to Paul Check, we have something like 90,000 thoughts a day coming into our mind, and generally 80,000 of them are negative. So when you start cultivating these gratitude practices, you just move yourself into a different space. And I feel like those sort of things, it's really hard to quantify it on a daily level. But for me, over a period of say 2.5, 3 years, where I've been consistently doing this every day, it's life-changing. It is completely life-changing. So following that, I'll either go for a run or maybe go for a walk outside. If it's raining, I'll just kind of ease into my day with work and maybe check my social media or something. But yeah, I never look at any emails, phone messages or anything sort of before that's completed. So that's
amazing.
Yeah, that's my routine. And yeah, I think there's a lot of value in just having a routine. And getting up and just going, okay, this is just what I do. Like, I'm the sort of person that gets up at this time. I don't sleep in. I always push through and do these things. I just feel like you create, emotional strength, and just, I don't know, it's just good you just feel good when you just commit to something and just go, this is just what I do.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. I remember you mentioned some of that when we met up, and I need to I want to implement some of those, and I haven't yet, but there's certain things I have similarly that I'm trying to. Mine will probably be pretty boring compared to yours.
Your morning routine looks pretty good from when I see it.
Yeah, it's maybe not as mindful as yours, but it's similar. I have the same red light on my phone, or the red setting. I leave the airplane mode on all night, where I'm not so I'm not, well, 1, tempted to look at it, and 2, that I don't want any kind of stuff coming in. Same thing. I've changed. I've been trying to not, at least I haven't much. I don't wake up to, like you said, the messages or the emails. I leave it on airplane mode, and I usually get up and do my routine. I'll do like a usually as of late, I've been doing I do a lemon water, apple cider vinegar, salt, and then I go outside and actually stand on the ground and try to, because it's not as cold here, try to get a little bit of grounding and earthing on, and then just kind of moving, like just a bit of movement, just to tell my body that it's awake time. It's not to go sit back down on the couch, which a lot of us do. I watched this cool thing about of things to fix your sleepiness throughout the day, and that was one of them. A lot of people get up, make coffee, and go sit back down.
Yeah.
And then their body's like, oh, maybe I should just relax now. Like we just been sleeping for 12, or 7-8 hours. So I was like, man, that's pretty smart actually. So I usually in Bali, I'm up 5:45 or 6 every day. It's right before sunrise or right around sunrise, because I usually get down to the beach and start walking. But here, yeah, I've been sleeping in a bit more just because my sleep pattern's been off, or I've been going to bed a little too late. So I'm still getting my 7.5, 8 hours sleep. But yeah, generally, I think that's the biggest thing. Like you could touch on is keeping your phone off. Like I've already sent the stuff that's important for the day before, at least as far as programming and coaching stuff. And I try not to look at the phone until I've got that kind of morning routine. And then I was getting up and going straight to a walk. So on my walk is when I would allow which is not always the greatest, but like that's when I turned my phone on. Yeah. And I could listen to music and then answer some emails and stuff while I walk. Because to me, I enjoyed it. I wasn't as present maybe in my walk, but I was present before that. And so I allowed my time to be on the walk where I answered. Like this morning, I answered a bunch of messages with my partner and did some voice notes and things like that. So I do want to get back to the cold shower. I do cold water on my face. It's a baby step, but I think that kind of helps a little bit, just to kind of shock my body into it. But I do want to get that. I'm going to try the shower thing. I'll do warm to cold. I tried doing straight into cold, and I did it one day, and I think I'm like, nah, I won't do that again.
It's not fun. It's not fun, yeah.
Yeah. We have an ice bath here, though. I've been trying to do that, and then we have an infrared sauna, so I've been hitting that a little bit more, too. It's been really nice in the evening.
That's great. So good for you. That's what I'm missing about my gym, where you and I went when you were down here to Fifth Element. They've got a nice bath there and a sauna, and I think they're opening next week. So that's what I've missed the most is the saunas and I mean going to the gym and just the social interaction is a big thing. That's kind of I'm not the most social person. I have a lot of interactions with work digitally, but going to the gym is where I kind of have my social interaction. It's a really awesome bunch of people.
Same.
Yeah.
I noticed that too. It was kind of a funny thing where I thought, oh man, this is crazy. We're going to be locked up in Brisbane. And then I kind of do these morning and daily routines that I do in Bali. And I'm like, oh, I guess I'm just kind of a loner anyway. Because it wasn't hard. It wasn't really hard for me. I was like, still get up, I go on a walk, have a coffee, I do my work, and then train, and then, come home and have dinner or and so I was like, man, maybe I'm just a loser because it didn't really affect me too much. Like I did the same almost thing.
You and I are very similar in that way. We're like one pan master chefs. When you're cooking for yourself, it's always one pan and a glass of wine. So I'm on the same program. All right. It hasn't changed my routine at all.
No, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's nice, but
yeah. Hey, all right. So we'll probably, I know you got stuff that you probably want to get to, but I really appreciate the chat. But one last question: what are your plans for the long weekend? Are you hanging out in Brisbane, or are you going to head up the coast or down the coast, or?
Well, I didn't even know. Is it a long weekend? Does that mean
it is?
People Monday. Are off on Monday?
Yeah.
What is it a holiday or a government thing?
No idea. We have so many of these Mondays off.
Okay. Yeah. Well, no, I have no plans as of yet, but it's nice today. Maybe head to the coast or something, check out some stuff. I actually wanted to check out some more of the hinterlands, I think, as you guys call them, like see some of the hills and the mountains and stuff. I haven't really seen much of that yet, so that'd be kind of cool to see some bush, as you say. I think
you should go up to Noosa. You haven't? I don't think you've been to Noosa yet, have you?
No, I heard it's really nice. I'd like to go up there.
Yeah, I lived there for 12 years, and there's a great gym up there. I think it's Jordan Potts, the ex-alt gym, and
Okay.
Keegan Smith, who I've connected you with. I think Keegan's there at the moment.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's a really sick little community with those real movement guys up there. Insane beaches, beautiful national parks to walk through. It's like a more manicured version of Byron. Kind of Bali, bit of a Bali feel to it as well, I guess. So.
Oh, maybe I'll head up there. That's not. What is that? 2.5 hours or something? I think away.
Hour and a half from Brisbane.
Oh, cool.
So it's easy.
All right.
Yeah, it's fun. But yeah, you should try and link up with those guys if you go up there. It'd be fun to pop into the gym.
So good, yeah. Well, yeah, I appreciate you having me on too, and you know, it's nice to chat with you, obviously. But like, it's so good. I learn a lot from you. You know, if it's the mindfulness stuff, the yoga stuff, the meat eating, the bone broth, the aura ring, and all those things. Like, I appreciate you're always giving me a hand. So like, it's fun to tweak and work on everything, on our bodies and get some cool results, and hopefully share that with other people.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that, and you too. I always appreciate your insight and support as well. And yeah, thanks for taking the time to chat. It's always good to see you. Hopefully next time face to face in Bali over winter would be preferable. But for now,
you can bring a nice wine.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. A good wine shop in Bali. That would be. I think that's
the next go, right? Oh, if we had good wine in Bali, you'd never leave.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up. But yeah, have an awesome day. And just quickly, where can people find you? What's your social media handle?
Yeah, for me personally, it's at Dave Driskell, DaveDriskell. And then my gym is CrossFit Wanderlust, and you'll find the other plenty of Wanderlust businesses in line with that. So yeah, check us out. It'd be cool to have anyone that wants questions or wants to follow us and come out and visit, or watch me do workouts on my Instagram or whatever I do. I talk about walking a lot, I think, lately.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
All right, Dave. Have a good afternoon, mate, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for listening to the Modern Pirate Podcast. If you like what you heard, please head over to iTunes now to subscribe to the show and leave us a rating and review. Want to talk more about this episode, suggest a guest, or offer feedback, please head to our Instagram page, modern_pirate, or swing by the website to sign up for our semi-weekly newsletter at modernpirate.com.au. Thanks again, and stay salty.